Donald Trump is feuding with a Republican lawmaker over the stimulus bill. Now, as the House debated passage of the Senate's version of the economic stimulus bill, there was one Republican lawmaker who was really standing out because of his threats to possibly block it. So it's the representative from Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky. From Kentucky, Representative Thomas Massie. And according to the Louisville Courier Journal, he was quoted as saying, "This is $2 trillion. Divide 2 trillion by 350 million people," meaning how many people live in the United States. "It's almost $6,000 for every man, woman, and child. I'm talking about spending. This won't go to the men, women, and children. So if you have a family of 5, this spending bill represents $30,000 of additional U.S. national debt because there is no plan to pay for it." So his biggest issue is that most of this money is going toward the bailouts. It's actually not going to men, women, children in the country. As we know, if you qualify for it as an average American, you only get a one-time check of $1,200. And so since he was signaling that he could possibly block this legislation, all of a sudden you have lawmakers rushing back to the Capitol in order to vote on it, right? Because the initial plan was to do a unanimous consent, meaning that the lawmakers wouldn't have to be at Capitol Hill to do a roll call vote. But in the end, they ended up doing a voice vote anyway, which means that they all shout yay or nay, and then the majority ends up winning. In this case, the yay votes won. So this really did upset Donald Trump. And on Twitter, he wrote, "Looks like a third-rate grandstander named Representative Thomas Massie, a congressman from Kentucky, a truly great state, Kentucky, wants to vote against the new Save Our Workers bill." By the way, it's not titled Save Our Workers bill in Congress. "He just wants the publicity. He can't stop it. Only delay, which is both dangerous and costly. Workers and small businesses need money now in order to survive. Virus wasn't their fault. It is hell dealing with Democrats. Had to give up some stupid things in order to get the big picture done. 90% great, win back House, but throw Massie out of the Republican Party." So, Cenk, there were some Republicans who actually defended Massie, but I want you to jump in first.
Yeah, it's typical thug behavior from Donald Trump. Anyone who dares disagree with him slightly, throw him out of the party. That's it. Throw him out. Okay. And it's fascist 101. It doesn't matter why he disagrees. Does he disagree out of principle? Does he disagree with you from a left-wing perspective or a right-wing perspective? So, by the way, honestly, establishment Democrats and mainstream media do the same thing. They're like, "Oh, Bernie Sanders disagrees with Democratic leadership. Throw him out of the party. Throw him out of the party." Wait, hold on. He's coming at you from the left wing, not from the right wing. So what's your objection?
That is their objection.
Well, that is their objection, exactly. But in this case, conservatives actually do care about people being right-wing. That's why they backed up Massie, which was weirdly, strangely proud of them for backing up Massie. And so what's my point of view? Look, Massie has two very legitimate points. One is the constitutional issue that he brings up, and I think it's a tough call here because you have to bring people back into Congress, and it does endanger their health to do that. On the other hand, these voice votes where you don't know who voted what, it helps them escape accountability, and I can't stand that. So that's good point number one. And the second point is, look, it is $30,000 for every family of 5, and like whenever we say, "Hey, can we get health care for everyone, or can we build an energy infrastructure in this country to save the planet?" people scream, "How are you going to pay for that?" When you've got he says 2 trillion there, but he later clarifies there's the extra 4 trillion from the Fed that we've been talking about for a couple of days now. But when you have $6 trillion that's going to the top corporations in the country, or most of it is, no one asks, how are you going to pay for it? So I think Massie has perfectly legitimate points of view from the right wing.
Right. Right. And, what we've been hearing about Republicans for a long time is that they're the so-called fiscal conservatives. And so I got to be honest, every once in a while, when you actually do find a principled Republican who is a fiscal conservative, you got to give them props because they remain principled, even knowing that someone like Donald Trump is going to engage in his thug behavior and attack him. Luckily, there were some Republican lawmakers who defended Massie. And one of them was Paul Gosar. He said the following: Mr. Trump, Representative Massie is a good man and a solid conservative. He believes in the Constitution strongly. We won't always agree on strategy or policy, but he doesn't want this dressing down. Thomas, hang tough brother, hashtag coronavirus outbreak. And then there's a conservative blogger with the Daily Wire named Matt Walsh. He jumped in as well and said that Massie is a... Yes, Cenk.
Sorry, just to jump in for a second. Mm-hmm. So Gosar said he doesn't warrant this kind of attack. And remember, Gosar's a maniac. He's the one that all of his family members said, whatever you do, don't vote for our brother. And he always says like insane things left and right. But here, I don't mind. Look, I could disagree with them 98% of the time, but we're honest enough to say, hey, they have a good point. I don't even know that I would vote with them, right? I think it's a really, really tough question. But I think this is coming out of actual principle because Gosar normally is ensconced in Donald Trump's bosom. So the fact that he's left that comfortable bosom shows you, man, he really is acting out of his right-wing principles, which give him credit for, even a lunatic like Gosar.
Oh, bosom's a good word. And then conservative blogger Matt Walsh with the Daily Wire also defended Massie, tweeting, Massie's a good congressman, this bill is garbage, and calling for a good conservative to be thrown out of the party because he doesn't want to vote for a garbage bill is itself a garbage move. And wow. I definitely enjoyed that tweet, but I liked his follow-up tweet to that, which was, now watch the shameless groupies take Trump's side against one of the most consistent conservatives in Congress just because he told them to.
All right, look, I super respect that. I mean, to have the cojones to say that Trump is doing a garbage move when you're working for a right-wing outlet. And yes, we somehow had bosom and cojones in the same story here. But give Matt Walsh credit. I'm sure I don't agree with any other thing he's ever said, but it's courageous to take on Trump like that, and it's principled.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.